welcome to Data Center Nation. My name is Ambrose McNevin. Today I'm joined by Roger Süess. Roger is the CEO of Green. Green is the leader in colo services in Switzerland. Roger, welcome and thank you for joining Data Center Nation.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Roger, Green has recently announced a Zurich campus expansion and a $500 million plus refinancing. So what were some of the drivers behind the timing of these announcements?
Yeah, I think if we look at data centers in general, it's a very exciting time, with an ever more digital society. All those services are really built around data centers and its connectivity. Pretty much throughout, whether it's cloud services, various applications, gaming, social media, after COVID, basically the whole working environment sort of moved to a more digital setup, with video conferencing, but also looking at music, shopping, travel, everything really building on the cloud. And so for us, it was very essential to be able to deliver with those investments the necessary capacity when it's needed. And so for us, it was a preparation of being able to offer a multi-hyperscale campus environment and really have the necessary funding in place to expand and drive that capacity.
Just to dig into that a little bit, when we read European commercial property data center market reports, there seems to be a lot of talk of predicting significant co-location growth beyond flat plus D, Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, Paris, and Dublin, of course. So what do you think is behind this growth?
Yeah, I think it's something that's true, certainly at the European level, even more so within Switzerland, where we very much see sort of a pumped up demand comparing to the US of actually enterprises adopting cloud for first and foremost, but also giving up their own dedicated environments. And so, if you look historically, those enterprises, they really had their own data centers, and sort of more and more with the adoption of cloud, they actually struggle to maintain them, to do that in an efficient and effective way. And so that very much driven the colo space, paired up, of course, and that's where the hyper growth is coming from, of those cloud providers moving into those regions and delivering their services. That's what we've seen as the majority driver behind the growth.
So if I may ask a supplementary question, so do you see then that both within the Zurich market, within the Swiss market, enterprises are keen to move into these new cloud regions, but they want their infrastructure on the ground, as it were?
Yeah, exactly. I think we see really two trends. So first, and that was most important, that sort of those cloud providers and hyperscale providers, also other services, actually recognize Switzerland as a region and worthwhile to move in. That's a bit driven by local demand that they could confirm, but then also the saturation that they saw, or the lack of availability of capacity in the flat regions and other places. So we see two trends: one, that they're coming because they see that local demand, and then secondly, really utilizing that geographic, ideal location at the heart of Europe that Switzerland presents, and moving in there and setting up those regions. If we look at the local market, yes, also there, we see those enterprises having the appetite and also see the advantage of, on one hand, cost, but not alone cost, but really innovation and sort of life cycle, that they are keen to take up those services. But regulatory wise, there is still that demand to have it local. And that, of course, helps us. And I think for Green in particular, what's nice is that we offer that hybrid way of looking at it. So we have those hyperscalers with us, but we also deliver connectivity to them. And we offer a variety of services that allows those enterprises to also retain certain aspects that they don't see either the value to move to cloud, or in some cases, it's just not ready and enabled to go to cloud. and giving that sort of central, point where all those services come to bear is really what we were able to develop with the platform of Green and now deliver in Switzerland. Yeah.
Now, and then so just to broaden this out, there's talk, obviously, the data center industry as a sector, sustainability is a huge issue. What's your view? Do you believe the industry is doing enough or must do more to prove its sustainability, or does it risk being kind of at the mercy of ever greater and more stringent regulation?
Yeah, I think a very good question, and so I'm personally not a big fan of regulatory, approaches in general. I think Europe as a whole sort of is rather an over-regulated place, but that also means that we as an industry really have to show the dedication and also the true forward momentum. For us, in many ways, it starts sort of with education. I think there's a lot of misconceptions of what data centers are and how they function, and also myths. You may have seen some recent sort of TV shows where the cloud was sort of described as the villain taking up capacity, and it's really something. If we look at the level of convenience and also the way we sort of deliver services today, there is no turning back. I normally use the phrase, the genie's out of the bottle. And so it comes down to people and the industry as such, and Green as an example, sort of taking sustainability to heart. For us, sustainability in the name almost becomes program in that regard, was something that we started very early on. And I think it is important that you do it throughout. It starts with design, it then goes through how you construct. Do you construct in a sustainable way? But then also, last but not least, do you operate sustainably? So taking the full life cycle into place. And what we've done additionally and sort of served us very well was that we implemented various continuous improvement programs just to make sure that as you learn, as you innovate, that you find ways to reapply those findings back to existing facilities and improve them. Now, politically, I don't want to have it completely untouched. I think I'd love the politics to help us around some of the enablement. So there is a lot of discussions that we currently have in Switzerland around the construction policies. Could you be a bit more lenient, a bit more innovative around construction policies to allow things like solar and PV elements within the facade, solars on top, which often comes in working around height limits in construction, which I think is something where politics can certainly help. The other thing that we've been driving that was very welcomed by the public is how could we create circular economies, whether it's us participating in stabilizing the grid, but also us disposing of the waste heat through district heating. And I think there again, that's where politics could help, not only that they ask the data centers to provide that waste heat, but also to create a market. As you know, those things only work if there is demand and supply. We are very happy to be the supplier and be part of the solution. But of course, we need to make sure that we put the things in place so that there is demand to actually take that heat. And I think at the broader level, as an industry, is something where we have to educate people so that they understand. If we do it in a circular way, if we do it in a sustainable way, the data centers are actually the friends of the public, and the bigger, the better. And that's sort of the scaling effects that you have. It's very hard to have the skill set and to operate the small data centers at a highly efficient level. That becomes easier the bigger those setups get. But of course, as you get big, you also become visible. And so I think this is one misconception that I'm constantly working on, that actually just because it's in one place, it doesn't mean that people should be scared by the size of those data centers. They should understand that this creates extreme leverage and opportunity to be efficient, to drive it optimally, and to protect it very well.
I'll end with a yes/no question, if I may. So, overall, in your relationship or your view of your engagement with Swiss legislators, do you think it's overall positive?
Yeah, I do think so. I think they really recognize that this is an important sector and it's the backbone of the future. Great.
Roger Süess, CEO of Green, thank you for speaking with Data Center Nation.
Yeah, welcome. Pleasure. Have a good day.